We need to take leadership with the woe is me, God, like, right? Like, going with a sense of, oh, this is another human being whom you cannot create, who some circumstances has brought into the same context as you.
Mm-hmm.
And by design, maybe by positional, leadership, they defer their own judgment. They're deferring their autonomy as to how they want to move their lives and their careers under you.
Yeah.
And you're just showing up in a very regular way and acting any which way. And of course, because we exist in 360 context, what they get from you, they're going to take to the other relationships.
Yes. Absolutely.
It's not just children, by the way. We influence as adults.
Yes.
There is a special role of parents, of leaders, right? There is a role that just naturally a human being will submit and even suspend some of their own decision making because they have found the one under whom they're meant to follow.
Exactly.
So character, competence, and discipline is a minimum.
It's a minimum. And I would say, Modesta, I came from a culture, everyone knows, I was born and raised in Guyana, South America. I didn't move to the US until I was 24, where even when we chose teachers, you could not be a teacher. You're not a teacher in my culture, in my country, at least back then. I can't speak all for now because things have changed. But you had to go to 4 years of teachers training college. And the emphasis was not only all this, the psychology of child development and human. No, it was that, but it was also to me, they were molding your mindset of how you are to nurture the children and their families and how you to interact. And so for you to be selected as a teacher, you had to have this character. You had to have character. You had to have poise and class and articulation and diction and a whole lot of other stuff. I remember one professor, she said, if you cannot hum a tune properly, you have no business in a classroom with young children. Like, it was even down to that. And I thought to myself, it should be like this for every profession, that you not only have a degree and an interest, but you're cultured and trained. There should be, it's not a leadership book or a masterclass or bringing in a consultant. It's too late.
Yeah.
When they come in, you as a leader, when I went to work for the state of Florida in the Department of Economic Opportunity, it was 3 months of training as a career counselor, according to the systems and everything they give me. Yeah. When I went to work for the state of Florida, as a self-sufficiency specialist, where you were approving the food stamps and all that, it was a 3-month training. But yet when I'm ready to step up in a supervisory role and lead a team, there's no training. There's a whole bunch of interviews, so making sure I say the right things and I'm going to make sure all the processes, but no one helped to culture me and help to nurture my character and the way and my thought processes of interacting and taking the team in the direction. No one does that. It's
a lot more serious than we think. Parents, teachers, and especially your first manager.
Speak on it.
They can make or break a person literally for the rest of their lives.
Yes.
Later in life, you're dealing with people who are traumatized by these 3 sets of.
Come on and tell me, like, no one was beating me, no one was yelling at me, but I have had jobs where I was literally crying and shaking at my desk.
Same.
And wondering what is wrong with me. Like, what happened? I dreaded going there, and when I was there, I was serving people and for most people doing an amazing job, but I was a nervous wreck, Modesta. And then there were jobs that I left from and realized that I was traumatized. Literally, I would sit there and I was telling my partner, I was like, I don't know. I don't even want to interview for a job. Getting a new job scares me.
Trauma.
Because I feel like, and I'm like, what is this? And I know what trauma is. I'm trained and trauma informed and all that. So I'm like, this is trauma. Oh my God. And I am one of the strong ones. I am one of the self-aware ones. I am one of the one with emotional intelligence. I am one of the one who takes care of myself mentally, spiritually, emotion. And all I was thinking is, what about those people I left behind?
There you go.
What are they going to become?
There you go.
No wonder there are people having marital issues. No wonder there are people having financial issues. No matter no wonder their children are not listening to them, because they're out of whack themselves. And it's more than just mouth and words and things. It's energy transfer. When I learned a couple years ago that my supervisors, the stress level of my supervisor can affect me, my cortisol levels are directly affected, which will affect, this is why a lot of us have an extra pouch on our stomach, because it's cortisol. And a lot of it is like, well, I don't know why would I have the doctors asking you questions like, I don't have any stress in my life. I don't have any. No, it's just me. I don't have any kids to chase. I don't have, but I work in a stressful environment with a very anxious supervisor. And studies show that that level of stress and toxicity, whether I feel directly affected or not, I am.
You are. And what we're saying is, if you find out, because with the 4 levels of leadership, it's not saying do not lead others unless, no. We're saying you may already be in a leadership position.
Right.
You may have, like you said,
do better, get better to do better.
Whatever. However, it is on you. The onus is on you to say, I know I'm dysregulated. I know I'm operating from trauma. I know I am a bully. I know I'm passive aggressive. I know I coast. I know I kind of like take my foot off the pedal and I let my people take this flight. So then do something about it. Do something about it, because it's not just affecting you, it's affecting the people who work under you, who, by the way, were on a career trajectory and would have probably done well, yet here they are in this organization context with you, and it's affecting people at home. And it's just that ownership. Exactly. You don't even have to talk about it to other people. Just go get a therapist or by yourself.
Okay, exactly. Ownership. That's my personal definition is leadership is ownership. And that started for me when I was in the corporate space, working with educators as an educational leader and administrator. And that was the first time I came with, you know what, gotta take ownership. You've got to take ownership.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Where do most people tend to get stuck in this model, and why?
Second. So the first is self-leadership, right? So the character and the competence and the discipline. The second is people. Now, with leading people and you're growing this is where you're growing your influence. This is what we need to understand about influence. It's people allowing you to impact them in a certain way.
Yes.
You don't stronghold, you don't strong arm, you don't force people. Influence, and of course you can have a negative influence, but either way, another human being allowed you to have that.
Allowed you to do that, yes.
Another person has to allow you to influence them. Otherwise, they can block you, whether you're in a position of leadership, whatever it is. And at this level, you're looking to grow trustworthiness. So people have to believe that you're relatable and you're credible, that you will do what you say you will do, that you've got their back. Yes. You're looking to grow in emotional intelligence, right? You're looking to grow in mentor leadership, that you're not just, these aren't your minions, you're developing them to be able to also come up in leadership.
Exactly.
And a lot of people then struggle. Number one, from childhood, we're asked to be number one, get the grade, get the first position, get A's. So for a very long time, we're really inward looking. You're competing against everybody else. Exactly. We're not often socialized to work in a group and to lift other boats as we go up.
Exactly.
So people struggle from me being the performer who's seen to now being the facilitator of performance, right? And the empowerer of other people. And often it's because we don't know what to do with the fact that this other person is also coming in loaded with their own baggage and their own history and their own trauma and their own preferences. And often in a technical context, they're also really good at what they do. Do you know sometimes you're growing together as colleagues and then just one of you gets promoted, but the other
exactly,
right? And so people struggle then to understand you're not getting someone else to do something, you're not commanding them to do something. The best thing you can do is to find out what competence, what character, what makes them tick, what their preference is, and put them in and align them in positions that they would thrive, and partner with them in such a context. So people
Yes.
seem to realize that all you need to do, and I'm saying, I'm not trying to simplify it too much, but
No, it makes
what
absolute
you're
sense.
asked to do is to hold the space where you can find out what your people need, where you can step in to remove the barriers so that they can shine. And you
Yes,
can
come
give them
on.
the tools that they need, and the psychologically safe space they need to thrive. And making that switch from an individual performer and self-leadership to leading people is often where people struggle.
That's exactly it. Exactly it. Oh, I love that so much. That is going to help someone. That is going to help someone who's stuck. So, what is one small action that you would say to anyone today that they can take to move them to the next level on their own leadership journey?
As are we speaking about the four levels of leadership and self-leadership?
Yes, yes. What is one small action they can take to
So
to take on
let me
that?
speak on each. On personal leadership, really, it's asking yourself, and I like it better to support people when they have a target in mind. Is it a job and a job description? Is it a position you're going towards? You know, when you talk about personal development in a vacuum, it's so overwhelming. We have so many layers of things to work on in ourselves.
Yes,
What are you aspiring for? It often helps when you have a vision.
exactly.
Where are you going, and who do you need to become to get there?
Ooh, who do I have to become? That is it
Right?
right
Where
there.
are you going, and who do you need to become to get there? And then what's the one thing? What's the one thing that you know would trip you up if you don't work on it? It's going to have the greatest impact on whether or not you will make it to your next level. And
Yes.
yet, if you were to address it, it will actually it would have the greatest impact in the next level. Start
Yes.
with that. It could be character, it could be competence, it could be self-discipline. And whichever one you find out, okay, then put into strategies and take the actions,
And
and
take the action.
that will get you there.
When you talk about organizational and industrial, those two levels of the four levels of the development, what are those? Can you describe that to us? And how are all four of these, how do they interact in the highest level so you get results as a leader?
Absolutely. So self-leadership then would be the door opener to me being a leader who has the voice and influence over others. And then from there you move from there's a team that I'm overseeing to there's an organization, there is a system now. You are a leader over a system. And
System.
that looks very different from leading yourself and leading individuals.
Okay.
Because this system allows you to have a level of understanding of management, of understanding organizational development, organizational psychology,
Yes.
of understanding systems and structures and what it looks like, partnering with different stakeholders, with different leaders, partnering with power in politics,
Yes.
move things forward. There's a different skill set that is required. So at this level, you're looking to then engender your cause. You're looking to build a system that'll allow you and the individuals you're working with to go further. There's only so much human effort can do, but when you build a system, you multiply
Yes, you
what you're able
multiply
to
it.
achieve.
Absolutely.
And the biggest thing to remember here is not so much the structure you're developing and the systems like management information systems, etc. It's understanding the fact that I need to be a power broker. There are other people that have leadership over other domains, that have resources I may need, or that are gatekeepers. And I need to work with them to make sure whatever brought us together, this organizational goal that we're working towards, is achieved. And that takes another level of leadership out of you.
It
You need to know how
does.
to be a negotiator. You need to understand people's interests, the issues at hand, and what is of value to them, so that you can exchange value for value.
Value for
You need to
value.
understand at every level, people actually hold power. The janitor can hold things against you and like literally hold access against you, or they may be privy to things that you would never be privy to.
Come on. Exactly.
Right? So understanding politics, embracing the fact that there will be workplace politics, embracing the fact that there is power distribution, and it is your job to so manage yourself that you can connect with others, that they would open themselves up to be influenced by you, such that they will collaborate with you, and you can ultimately co-create solutions. That's a whole other level. That's not me and my people and telling people what to do. That's working in an ecosystem, finding your place, and dancing with the others that are also members of that ecosystem to get to where you need to go.
Right.
And then ultimately, industry leadership really is a legacy leadership. This is saying, okay, what am I contributing toward this sector? What am I contributing towards this field? And what does it look like for me to be a voice that's listened to, that can shape the development of this sector,
Yes.
that can shape policy, that then influences the trajectory, whether nationally, regionally, or globally.
Yes.
And one thing that I think is really key, sometimes we forget to anchor the efforts of our careers and our contributions with something. So this podcast you have, this is a legacy
Yes.
industry leadership platform you have created.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
There's only so much you can say and do as an individual, but ask yourself, what have I built that I can bequeath to the next generation?
Yeah.
What have I built that is a summary of my experience in this sector? As an individual leader of people, organizational leader, an industry leader, understanding the dynamics of the context I'm in, that I can then give to others as a blueprint or as a framework or as a reference with which they can run with. Because Dr. Miles Monroe said, the first job of a leader is to prepare their successor.
Yeah.
Right? The first job of a leader
Come on.
is to prepare the successor.
Come on.
And he said the success of a leader depends on the success of their successor. So you're not done until you're able to establish your industry leadership. So this is how it works: self, others, organizational, and then ultimately I owe it to my industry, given the experience that I've accumulated.
Come on, I love it. Ooh, I love it.
I know we have to continue, but I need to let my daughter.
Oh no. I love that. And that's it right there. That part, the last part just speaks so much volumes to me. I absolutely love it.
Come say hi to Auntie Alisa. This is Jedediah.
Hello. Hi, Jedediah. It's so nice to meet you, gorgeous.
I know you're gonna have to cut it out.
Oh yeah, that's what editing is for. That is what they get paid to do. It's so future. Yes. So, perfectly said. Let's talk a little bit about branding. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Hey, still recording. I'll call you back. Mm-hmm. All right. Oh, okay. All right. Sure. My honey was looking for me.
Oh,
he knows I'm not scheduled. It's okay. So we're gonna go back to now we're gonna dive into leadership, right? So you'll see. Not leadership, sorry, personal branding, because I want to talk about that with you. Mm-hmm. So Modesta, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about another aspect of your work and impact is personal branding as a tool for influence and impact.
Yeah.
Many professionals think branding is just for influencers. And of course, I'm not one because I teach this in my career coaching classes. Why is that a mistake to think that only influencers or big time business owners want to focus on personal branding?
Because you cannot get far. Listen, if leadership is influence, as John C. Maxwell says, right? It's influence, nothing more, nothing less.
Yes, yeah.
And influence is other people choosing of their own volition. You didn't force them. They choose to allow you, right, to sway their decision making. You need to so conduct yourself that a person will, first of all, trust you. That a person will be attracted to what it is that you say you have to offer. And think about it this way. Each time we interview for a job, that's personal branding.
Come on.
You're saying my candidacy, you will find my candidacy superior to anybody else who's interviewed with you.
Thank you. I tell them they are offering a service and they have to market it. So branding is important. Like the
Right?
reason you're up going to Taco Bell at 1 a.m. when you're hungry, it's because they have planted a seed of how it will feel in your mouth when that warm taco hits you with all the juiciness of, and let me don't start, but they've done that. So you
Yes.
want to be a taco.
I love it. By the way, you do want to be a
My
taco.
students love me because they're like,
By the
Dr.
way,
White, come on. But they get
uh,
it. You can't not get it when I'm done telling you that. But you have to brand. And so I have an entire module that I teach that's called You Are the Brand.
yeah,
That is one of the very first. And so because what I'm telling you is you can even dress the part, you could look the part, you can show
yeah,
up with a briefcase and a suit for your interview, but your energy won't lie. So you got to
yeah,
do some work before,
yeah.
right? And your articulation is going to matter how you articulate, because Taco Bell is not trying to put themselves as a five-star restaurant. This is why they have late night, midnight service,
Yeah.
because you can depend on them when
Yes.
you're in on the road late at night.
Yeah.
You get your big box, you know,
Right.
and don't get it wrong, I cannot eat Taco Bell like that. So I don't, but I just know these commercials are
Yeah.
convenient. And when you're hungry, they're there for you. McDonald's is there for you any time of the day or night in almost any country, city,
Mhm.
and state.
Yep.
So they have to put themselves as a brand that is there for you when everything else is not there. And that is what you want to be in the eyes of the employer, is that, look, I will supply all the things that you need, plus I'll be even more when you haven't even thought of it. I'll be there to provide for you. I'll be that person. And how do you brand yourself for that still is within an authentic space? Because for
Mhm.
me, I think one of the biggest things is that people pretend to be something and everyone can see through the hogwash.
And you're not being asked to do that. Personal branding
Nobody's telling you to do that when it comes to brand.
personal branding is telling your ideal audience, right? You're telling them, listen, I know you well. I know this very specific problem you're going through, and I have the solution for it. And giving them track record of how you've helped other people through it. But ultimately, you're so positioning yourself in their minds that they choose of their own volition to trust you above anyone else.
Come
So what
on.
is it that you're promising that you're able to deliver? That you position yourself differently from everybody else to be able to deliver.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're leaving it to chance. You're kind of sort of hoping that they would remember you. No one remembers someone just for the sake. How many times do we have family and friends go look for services elsewhere? You're like, but I offer that. But it's not even personal. You were not top to mind. You didn't so distinguish yourself that when they think of this field, you will definitely always be top three.
Yes. Yes.
Another reason why personal branding is important is there contexts where you're not in the room and you need someone in the room to be saying your name.
Does someone think of you when they think of the problem that they have? That is what are you an energetic match? Are you a physical match? Are you a representation of that solution? That's the question. And these are two things that came from Kareem that he's taught me: is money is a reward for solving a problem.
Yeah.
So are you showing up as the solution, like you just said? And then he also says that someone told him, if you were in a room and people don't remember who you are, what you do, it's not their problem, it's yours. I mean, you didn't do what you were supposed to do while you were there. And I'm like, ew.
Yeah, and people think my work will speak for itself. It doesn't. Apparently, your work does not speak for itself.
Come on
Apparently, you
now.
have to and like you said, you don't have to be obnoxious, and it doesn't have to be in an
You don't have to
inauthentic
be in
way,
your face either.
right? But you need to know them well enough to know what matters to them. Value is actually determined by your client, your
Come
customer.
on. Yes.
What do they value? Know what you're saying. What do they value
What do they
that
value?
you deliver? And make sure that you're visible, that you add value as they define it, and you're consistent. And you were talking about Taco Bell in the middle of the night, that you're available when they need you, where they expect to find you, and it's easy to access you. And the
Yes.
reason why Coca-Cola is still advertising 100 years later, when really we think it doesn't need
Because
to,
everybody hasn't heard about Coca-Cola.
getting people, and it wants to get people to
It's
be top in
it's a
mind.
psychology. Yeah,
Top
they're
in mind. So
hypnotizing you and
perfect.
programming you. Not hypnotizing, but you're being programmed to
Absolutely.
turn to Coca-Cola. I don't drink soda, but every now and then I see how they do. Every time I go to the movie theaters
Yeah.
and they do the whole scenario with the Coca-Cola dripping down and
Yeah.
all of a sudden I'm sitting there and I literally have to fight off wanting a Coca-Cola,
Letting
which
it
I
go.
don't usually want.
There you go.
I'm usually thinking I need to buy Coca-Cola and have it around so I can clean toilet bowls and bathrooms and stuff. But that's because, again, someone has propelled an ad that goes with
Yes.
that, right?
Listen, in this world, in this global world where the
Yes.
competition isn't just your colleague next door, the competition isn't just your peers in your industry, but it's an entire globe full of people who can replace you. Personal branding is the minimum that you need to do.
Do
Because
absolutely.
we're not in our countries and in our little markets anymore. The whole world is open to anybody who's so. I mean, I'm asking you and your podcast. I'm thinking of you and your podcast. You don't have people from just one country. The whole world has found you, and you're rated as high as you are
Yes,
because you offer a solution. Now,
that's
are there
right.
people in other parts of the world that probably offer similar things? Even people that they know, possibly. But there's
Yes,
a way you so position yourself
right.
that they believe that you're the one that they need to go to.
And
And this is what
consistency. And
people,
a great thing is, I only started this podcast initially just to let people know, hey, when you are stuck and you can't seem to break through and have the success in your life, your business, your career, and your relationships, that it's going to come back to the way you think. That was the goal. And it was only supposed to be me for about 15 minutes. And I wanted people to know I am the one that you can turn to, and I offer solutions for free and for fee that
yeah,
can get you out. Recently, and this is the first time I'm speaking about it public, a few people know, I created my own chatbot coaching AI person thingy figure majigger that can take you through a shift and get you unstuck in your life, your business, and career.
love
And I'm
it.
so excited about it. We're going to announce it, I guess, next week. Oh my goodness, I forgot about that. But that's now so people can go online and just have a chat with the system and the method I've created, the framework I created, which is called Shift, and get unstuck quickly, you know?
Yeah,
And that's something that for me, people are like, well, you should sell that. Why would I? Because people can't get unstuck with a chat box. They can get unstuck for a little bit, but the deep rooted stuff, they need a guided coach. And it could be me or one of my colleagues that they're going to need based on what they're stuck. It might be they need to work with Modesta because she's the one who works directly with leaders who are in industry and in organizations. Or it might be someone who's stuck in their career. That might be me. Someone who's stuck in their relationship. That might be me. But then I have people who are stuck with branding. That might be the other guest I had earlier today, who's another great sister, Miss Maya Iloas. So it doesn't matter. It's that they can figure it out, and then they'll be like, I need help, and then I can find them the help, and our team could refer them on to someone in our network. So it's never, no, AI cannot replace us, and we're not afraid, but we got to work with them. They'll help us because now more people can get a shift. Do you think I care? I don't only care about how much money I leave. I care about how many people get unstuck. And like Modesta said at the beginning of this interview, you said, I realize I can go to court and fight for one victim at a time, and I would still not have done enough. Or I can really help people escape becoming a victim to begin with.
yeah, I love it. And listen, the bot that you just created that can coach people through Shift, that's also personal branding. That's offering a solution. That's offering value to people.
There are
And it's
people who are going to click on that button that I would have never met if they hadn't clicked on it. The podcast, I get to meet people that are influencing me and my journey.
yeah,
And then, of course, I share them with the world and helping me shift my mindset, helping me become a better leader, entrepreneur, woman, all the things by just sitting here having these conversations. I wouldn't have had access to them. I would have never known they existed, and I wouldn't know their work and get to learn and get more tools in my toolbox had I not committed to consistently sit behind this microphone in my small extra room in my home to do it if I had not. So you never know what will lead. But the thing is, as a leader and in this whole space of branding, is to just do your best, go out there. And I love when we talk about getting the right people to help support that. But you got to articulate yourself. Now, when anyone thinks of mindset, who do
they
they
think
think
of
of?
you.
Even when
Listen,
I'm not asked, it's like, and Dr. Alisa, you're going to love this because you talk about mindset. I'm in spaces where people should not know what I do, but they
they
do.
do. They do. And this is what, listen, if only as a purpose-driven servant leader, if only to propel the message that you've been put on earth to do, if only to serve people well, you need to be visible. You need to let people know you exist and you add value. Jesus asked his disciples, who do men say that I am? Like, oh, some say John the Baptist, some say Elijah, some say. He's like, all right, fine. I'm not focused on them, but who do you say that I am? He's like, you're the Christ, you're Son of the living God. He goes, oh, flesh and blood didn't reveal this to
They
you.
reveal this to
My
you.
Father. Meaning, I am glad because I'm here on mission. And if you didn't get my personal brand right, I'm in trouble. Why?
Because
Because you're the
you
people,
can't serve and work with me.
because you're the people who are meant to choose of your own volition to follow me and to continue this work.
Right.
For nothing else except for you to serve your purpose, you need to let people know, hey, I exist, I see you, I am here for you.
That's
And
right.
doors open that way. So what could that look like? For me, I told you, human resource development and then business development. We
Right.
went into media. We had a radio show that got 10 million listeners every Saturday.
Ooh, that's
We had
awesome.
TV. I was covering the general elections with presidents. We had another show that was for entrepreneurs. We were in newspaper columns in both Swahili and in English. So one of them was talking about career success. That was actually the material that ended up writing my 32 Steps book for career success. And then another one was on business, but in Swahili. So personal branding looks like asking yourself, what is the problem that I'm looking to solve for the people that I'm called to? Where do they congregate? What is of value to them?
Yes.
And then delivering that value. And like you said, I remember you saying this, like you said, I realize that if I take care of influence and impact, if I take care of service, the money will take care of itself. You said this, something towards that
Yes.
at the beginning. Yes. And it's not always tit for tat, but
No.
it's the enduring person and brand. Some people come to me and say, I've been watching you for 20 years, and so I'd like to sign up with you. And then they sign up for a couple of, I don't know, 5-figure package.
Right.
Why? You've been consistent. You're not doing
That is it exactly.
you have been consistent. You're not being paid to show
For that
up with the value that you
consistency,
bring.
let me tell you. No
I
one
can
pays me
only
for this
imagine,
podcast. This is
right. I can only imagine the value you would add to me if I did pay you.
Come on now.
Branding.
Branding. And it is. And again, you're in that energetic branding comes from within. You are in the energetic pursuit and flow of what your call is.
Yeah.
And so once the water doesn't stop to check for permission from a rock to go by, it flows. The rock is there and it goes around it. So when you're branding yourself, from what Modesta is sharing with us today, is you keep going, and then you will end up in that bigger lake, in that bigger pond where 5 figures and 6 figures does become a thing. But you would never end up in the big lake if you don't go down the narrow streams,
Yeah.
which
So,
can be dark and lonely and cold or too hot, and little boys peeing in it. I'm saying you, this is just going like, I'm trying to tell you, be like water, but
Yeah.
that water that ends up in that big lake comes down those rocks
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
comes down streams where little boys are playing in it and pooping and stuff.
Yeah.
And then it ends up in the big lake. But it goes through a whole purifying system too. By the time you see it in the ocean, it's nice. It looks nice and clear.
Yeah.
All part of the process.
Yeah, it is so key. So if only, if you want to get ahead, personal branding is what will distinguish you from your colleagues in the next cubicle. You want your business to stand out in a pool of consultants and whatever else that you're doing that are doing the same thing, personal branding.
Yeah.
And increasingly, so people don't want to just see brands of organizations. They want to see an individual. Who is the person behind this, who's got skin in the game, who's got a story of war and, and glory. And then also, there's only so far you can go when you are trying as an individual to make something move. It's one thing for me to say how amazing you are and people believing, or you just telling people, I'm really amazing, I've got these things and you need to come to me, right?
Yes.
So word of mouth is personal branding. Somebody else saying, right? When a sponsor pounds the table and say, I vouch for Alisa, she's the one we're going to promote. She's the one we're going to give a contract to. And literally people are staking their careers and their names on you. That's personal branding.
Because I brand myself well
So it's
enough.
not just for influencers.
Right.
In a
We do
sea of
understand.
people, authentic or not, genuine or not, qualified or not, personal branding makes all the difference. And get this, some people don't even have much to go by, and they brand themselves well, and they're getting all this,
Very little,
and
yeah.
you're more qualified, and you're
Yes.
praying, oh Lord, why, when will you open the
Because
door?
you're not communicating your brand. You're not communicating your
Joseph
purpose.
was in
And it's really what we're inviting you is to brand your purpose and what you are a solution to. I have not met anyone, whether they were 5, 50, 100, or even in middle age.
Yeah.
When I asked them, what do you want to be when you grow up? And people are like, you ask everybody that? I said, yeah, because we're always growing up. So, what do you want to be? Everybody always has a next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So I say, what do you want to be when you grow up? People say, I want to be a flight attendant. I want to be a doctor. I want to be an attorney. And then I always ask, say, why? Because I can help people too. And I'm like, no one has ever said, because I want to make lots of money. I maybe had one young girl who said, I want to make lots of money. And then I asked her why. And she said, because I want to be able to pay for my mom's house so she don't have to do it by herself. And I want to help children, not have to go through what I went through. And you see, no matter what I do, it always comes back to service, to helping people, to make the world a better place, to make the society a better society. So you still don't think you need to brand? Is the question we have to ask. You still think it's for the girl who's wearing looking really great on a bikini on social media so she can have more people on her OnlyFans? You still think it's just for her? No, it's for all of us. But you've let her do a good job of branding, so people think they need more of that. They need more bodies, so there's more of the plastic surgery industry sells more without even us recommending it. They don't have to do a lot of promotion, but you have a solution to get people in a mindset of I am enough, that I have value, that I am beautiful as I am. And you're not helping to break those chains because you're just doing it for whoever knows you do it.
Yeah. No.
We need you. We need your voice.
Absolutely.
We need your leadership. Step up.
And we were charged to go all out into all the world. I don't even know why people are keeping their spaces small, unless you were told by God to stay small. Exponential growth is required of all of us. Global presence and global impact is required of all of us.
Everybody can have a podcast. This should not be a space where 1 or 2 or 3 of us, they shouldn't be a top 1% of podcasters in the world. But it was the most hilarious thing when I heard it.
I mean, you will continue to be.
Again, the world creates a space that people feel elite. But my message to everyone is, why don't you have a podcast? Or why aren't you on social media? Why aren't you creating a YouTube channel talking about what it is you like to talk about? Underwater basket weaving, there are 8 billion people on the planet or more at this point.
Yeah.
There are people who want to do underwater basket weaving or underwater ponytail creation.
Girl, okay.
You have a tribe that wants to hear what you are doing and how you do it. And just go do it. That's your responsibility. And with technology, you don't, like, I was a little girl who went around with the older men and women in the church to go share the word. I mean, I wasn't Jehovah's Witness. We just went and knocked on people's door and asked if we could pray for them, invite them to service and stuff like that, and picked up kids for Sunday school. You don't have to do that now. You can just do a text blast. You could buy a mailing list. You don't like to talk on microphones? Oh, wait, I got you. Watch this. You can have a newsletter on LinkedIn. You can post a whole long post with a nice picture of not even yourself. You can put a picture of Modesta. She's gorgeous. She's a model. You can put her picture. They'll stop even faster because she's so gorgeous, and write the whole thing about underwater basket weaving. It's not related, because everything I read is not related. It's either a really nice purse, a nice looking person in fit gear, and then I'm like, this has nothing to do with what they're talking about. But it got me to read the post though. My point is, you don't have a limitation. My grandmother did. I had some, but we don't have an excuse not to brand ourselves.
We don't anymore. There's and then at the same time we're complaining about everything else that's there, that's counter the values that we stand for.
It's your fault.
It's not being, well, where are you? Where are you? There's
you can't beat them if you're not in the game.
If it's to be, it's up
It's
to
up
me.
to me. Come on. Let's do flip the script. Every guest who joins us leaves us with a story of transformation. So here's a
Ooh.
moment. Can you share a time when you had to flip the script of your mind in a major way, especially in leadership? What did that look like and what was the outcome?
Ooh. I want to. Should I do a self leadership one or with people?
It could be either or.
I
Self
want to
leadership
do.
is always more fun for this segment.
Let me do this. So we came to the States for my husband's studies. He came in on a scholarship to NYU,
Yes.
and I had my daughters were 2 and 3. So I'm asking myself, what on earth am I doing here? Like this high roller flying executive who has these businesses, and now, I mean, nothing to say about, being a stay-at-home mom. Love it, been one since. But just I was really lost. I built something over a decade and a half. And so I'd get on Facebook Live every Monday at 1 p.m. for a whole year. It was 1st of January till December 31st, faithfully every Monday, except for a week where we would transition segments. So from personal development to career to business to leadership.
Yeah.
And then, but then I'm praying. I'm praying for the Lord to open doors for me. But I'm sitting at home in the living room and I'm praying. And one day, I think I had an Elijah moment where he went to the widow and asked her to feed him. And she's like, I didn't get the memo. Like, I just have I'm getting these 2 sticks. I got a bit of flour. I'm going to make some food for me and my son. We're going to die. So
Yeah.
I can't. And he goes, okay, so if you give it to me, your flour will never dry, your oil will never dry, right? Because like God sent me here. God can't send me to a place where I'm going to die. He's sending me for my gain. And so I just got up one day, I think it was a Thursday, and I changed tops, I put on makeup, and I held my phone and I recorded and announced the master plan class. And this is a purpose life plan. This is a program to really discover who you are, why you're here, where you're going, and set the goals and the positioning to get you there.
Yeah.
2 years later, I had 400 people that had gone through this program. But point is, that then was the beginning of what now is Modesta Mahiga LLC and what I'm doing with executive coaching and government contracting and business.
That was the seed. Wow.
I just got off the seat. I'm like, because I'm praying to God. God, why am I in the States? God, make something happen. And I'm like, Modesta, He didn't bring you here to abandon you. God is worldwide. The God of Tanzania, where I come from, is a God of the world. Get up, take up your mat and walk.
Yes, yes.
So,
Wow.
that launched me in the US. That November, it was 2018, launched
That
me
is
in
so
everything I'm now doing.
impactful. With everything that you have achieved, what is success now for you?
Success is not asking money and people for permission to obey God and follow my purpose.
Ooh, ooh, what a space. That is a mouthful. Whoa. Success is not asking
Money
people
and people for permission
to
to
do
obey
what God
God.
has told me to
Yep.
do.
To fulfill my purpose.
So, does that mean you have been successful for some time now?
Without having realized it. Because I
Because
didn't
according to your
realize,
definition, I am living the dream.
right? Because
And I love it.
because I didn't realize it's not a destination.
Come on, speak to me. Because here's the thing. I determined that I have one life that I don't know anything else about. No afterlife. I believe that, I would write, but I'm not, there's no, for me, forget reincarnation, all that. I got this. But I don't have a time. I don't have a
Yeah.
timer.
Yeah.
I don't have no control. I'm sure, I know there is a timer, but I don't have access to
Yeah.
it. So if I'm called to go to the nations, I'm going now. What do I have? Oh, I had, when I
You say
started,
I'm going now?
I'm going now. I've gone. I've been. And so because of that concept is the reason why we have a podcast. And again, we have a podcast, but then it became a global podcast without my permission very, very quickly. And a top 1%. And I look at the names of the countries, I'm learning countries where people are listening. And I'm like, do you know, a lot of people are saying, well, I was called to preach and talk to people all over the world. but I'm, when I retire, I'm going to have enough money saved up so I can go. No, you can go now. Because here's the thing, if I can master, I believe the way life works
Yeah.
is that I get busy and again, we're going to go back biblical. Sorry for people who don't know the Bible, but people who do, even if you don't know the Bible, we're going to tell you this story. There was this little boy named Jesus, Jesus Cristo, who, he was a little boy and he said, his dad and parents, his stepfather, Joseph and them were looking for him. They're like, where's Jesus at? Jesus, Jesus, what out here? Hey, when they found him, they're like, what you doing? I'm out here doing my father's business, which says I'm here doing what I was put on this earth to do. He did not wait for him to grow up, for his parents to give him permission, for them to let him in, for people to look the right color of his skin, or none of that. He just like, oh, I got a task and I know what that is.
That's right.
Here I go. Goodness. Marching orders, that's what it is. And so I promise you that your influence and your impact are the only two eyes that will remain with you. Get busy doing that. What do you have in your hands right now to get yourself started, and let the rest take care of itself?
Do it. And nothing opens up until you do that.
Exactly.
Nothing else. Sometimes we want everything to be lined up. No, nothing else will open up until you do that.
People would say, someone said to me just yesterday, oh, you're doing greater things than me. You're traveling the world. You're going here. You're going there. And I'm like, the only reason I have places in the world to go to and people to go to is because I was talking to all of them on Zoom. And it only started because I opened up my computer and said, I'm going and make a message and I'm going to post it. And then people reached out to me and say, hey, can you come talk to our people in Pakistan? I have a crusade. I'm like, I'm not a preacher. Why would you reach out to me, who just posted a few weeks ago that I'm a John Maxwell speaker coach trainer, to come talk at a crusade? I was confused. My God, you got a sense of humor, because I do have a story of healing and transformation that I can share. So it's obviously I'm not going over there at a crusade where thousands of people are sitting outside of a little building with a mic. They have microphones and stuff. Obviously, I'm not going to talk to them about leadership.
Yeah.
What do I talk? He said, tell them your story about how God healed you. Modesta, that was the first time I spoke internationally, and hundreds of people got healed. Right there, from me telling people how I was the woman with the issue of blood.
Listen.
And it was, I don't remember after then. I just had calls everywhere to speak virtually. And guys, no one was paying me. You hear me? And I didn't care. I loved it.
People need to understand. Listen.
But that's why they call me now to get paid to go speak in other countries. Now I get paid. And sometimes I don't, but do I look like I'm short of anything?
I'll tell you something about grace.
If I am, I don't even recognize, because I'm so fulfilled. I am so successful, according to Modesta.
Yes. I love this. We think of ourselves too much. This is
that is deep.
We do. God created you, he's called you, and he's graced you for what you do, right?
Yes.
I never consult my gender, my race, my bank account, my age, being middle-aged. I don't consult them before I venture out on anything.
Nope.
Like if you bring it up to me, I actually don't comprehend. I don't have the programming I don't subscribe to labels.
Is that what's wrong
with me?
He told me,
he charged me, I'm on it. And then the resources, the people, all of those things come after.
Exactly.
Oh, sorry about that.
Always come.
You're going to have to remove some of the background sounds you're hearing.
You see, that's all in your head. I don't hear anything.
Oh, perfect. We overthink, and it's because of the fear of man.
Yes.
It's because of the fear of failure. And I cannot say that I'm just so brilliant and so with it and just so spiritual that these things never affected me. Well, they have affected me.
But then I know what to do with them.
That no matter how much I failed, and I failed, I'm talking about $1 million loss and public failure, and so I'm not something small. But guess what? I'm still alive. Yeah. So fall after fall, failure after failure. This God didn't say, "Oh man, I made a mistake because you're a hot mess. Maybe I don't want to."
No, exactly.
The guy decided before I showed up, knowing every day I would live, that I am worth putting in the position as in to speak to people. So I just show, even before I did this podcast, I prayed and I'm like, all right, you do your thing. Just make yourself available. And the
Right.
world,
You are a facilitator.
you are rewarded for showing up and your faithfulness in the little.
Right. And to allow yourself to
The
grow.
more comes after the faithfulness, the faithful stewardship of the little. The sooner you get started, the more consistent you become, the sooner you get to where you want to go.
Absolutely. Whew. Modesta, mindset bites to go, where I let our guests have 90 to 120 seconds. I love playing with numbers to share a lesson and speak to our listeners and viewers as if it was their last time to speak to the world. What would you say to them? I step away from the microphone and the camera as well, so you can do that. So I'm going to do that now and allow you to share that with our listeners and viewers. Here we go.
Here we go. Listen, I want you to know that God created you for a purpose. He purposed you to show up on the earth in the time that you're in for a very specific assignment. There's a solution that only you have, that no one else has. And you may have the understanding of some aspects of it, or you may not. It may be a mystery to you, but it is when you step out that the next step is available to you, that you're able to see what is the next thing for you to do. You are on earth on purpose for a purpose. And I highly recommend that you pursue that. And what does that look like? That looks like what you're passionate about. That looks like the things that you wish you could change in society. That looks like things that you have been through that you're saying never again. If I ever have the money, if I ever get into the position to be able to influence this, if I ever get to a place where I can speak for people, I will make sure to address this issue. That's what pursuing purpose looks like. Take a step in that. Be faithful at it. Be consistent at it. And you will see the results. Heaven and earth cannot get in the way, cannot stand in the way, nor will let anybody else stand in the way of a man or a woman who is determined to pursue purpose. God is with you. You've got this, and He's got you. Thanks.
I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. God has got you, and you got this.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Modesta, there are individuals listening and they absolutely want to know how they can get in contact with you and your work so they can lean in to that mindset. If it's going to be, it's up to me. They want to tune up their leadership awareness skills. How do they connect with you?
First of all, they can go to modestamahiga.com. So I know we're going to have that in the description.
Yes.
Modestamahiga.com. That's where you can see my work. But you want to hear me speak or connect with other people. You want to get those solutions that'll help you grow in your leadership. Go to the Modesta Mahiga 360 Leadership Podcast. That's where you'll get the nuggets, like really practical application of what you want, of what, to help you through your leadership effectiveness, to help you through your self-leadership and helping others as well. And then I'm on absolutely every platform as Modesta Mahiga. So LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook and the Threads and X. I'm on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, again, Modesta Mahiga. I cannot wait to connect with you. I would love to come alongside you and help you with your leadership journey.
Absolutely. My goodness. Wow. And it will be in the description wherever you're watching or listening to this episode. Please share it and also comment. Go over to 360 Leadership Podcast. That's what it's called, right? And listen, you can continue to get that. I do listen to the podcast. She has guests from all over the world who are bringing even more and collaborating with her on content that exceeds what we can do in an hour. And she will be back here with Mindset Mastery Moments, and obviously with MM360 she's also going to be on that platform here in a few months. You'll be hearing from her too. So Modesta, again, thank you so much for your dynamic, soul stirring, and strategic conversation with me. I really, really appreciate you. And to everyone listening, be sure to connect with Modesta Mahiga at modestamahiga.com. Check out her podcast, online courses, her books. Grab her free gift on how to write a professional bio. All the links are here in the show notes. Her social media handles are also in the show mode. So you don't have any excuse to connect with her, and let her know that you heard her here on Mindset Mastery Moments. And remember, leadership is not just a role, it's a responsibility. It's not something you wait for, it's something you wake up and walk in. I'm Dr. Alisa Whyte with my co-host today, my sister friend Modesta, and it's been another moment of Mindset Mastery. Until next time, stay bold, stay aligned, and lead with purpose, and keep mastering your mindset. Bye now.
Thank you. Bye. Wonderful. Thanks again.
Thank you, girl.